Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous trod in the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily.
Believe in the truth that they bringing out, because he cut himself in John 4:28. When he came out in John 4:28 and said that we skipped over things, that's why he said, well, I'm going to skip here, I'm going to skip there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to John 4:22 and prove that who was Christ talking about when he actually went to the Samaritans. Again, what he don't understand, he did, and a thing that he didn't address was 2 Kings, the 17th chapter and the 9th verse. I asked him to read that. He had time enough to read it. He could have read it and he would have seen that the nation of Israel was scattered. And when we were scattered amongst the nations for not keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments, we were the ones that were called strangers. Read John 4:22, brother.
John chapter 4, verse 22. Ye worship, ye know not what.
The Most High said, Christ said, ye worship, ye know not what. So he was telling them, he was telling the Samaritan lady that guess what? She didn't know what she was worshiping, but he was getting ready to tell her what she was worshiping. Read on.
We know what we worship.
But guess what? We know what we worship. We meaning who? Christ and the nation of Israel, the Israelites. We know what we worship. Read on.
Salakia. For salvation.
For what?
For salvation.
For salvation, brother. Salvation. If you want to be saved, salvation, read on.
Is of the Jews.
Is of the Jews. Not any other nation. So he's the brother that's skipping around. He the brother that skipped over that. Because it said crystal clear, why would Christ himself, that again, he also did not want to answer this question here. Christ knew who he was coming to save. You can't tell Christ who he coming to save. Christ just said what? Read that again, brother.
Verse 22.
John 4:22. You notice that he skipped to John 4:28. Why didn't he read verse 22? Read.
Ye worship, ye know not what.
He was telling the Samaritan woman that had came to him that she didn't know what she was worshiping. So why would he tell the Samaritan woman that and then not tell all the rest of the Samaritans? Why? Read on.
We know what we worship.
We know what we know what we worship.
For salvation.
For salvation
is of the Jews.
For salvation is of the Jews. Again, and let me bring out another very strong point that he skipped all around. He can say and try to twist the scriptures as much as he can. I challenge him when he come back to show me whether God or Christ said that salvation was unto any other nation on the face of the planet. He can't show me that, because guess what? It's not in there. It's not in there, brother. You should stop trying to deceive the people and have them following after that garbage. Let's go to verse 9. John 4 and 9. We're going to go to John 4 and 9 on you as well. You skipped all around John. You didn't want to bring out what the truth was. Read.
John chapter 4, verse 9. Then saith the woman of Samaria.
Then saith the woman of Samaria.
Unto him.
Unto him. Unto who? Who is the him? Yahweh Mashiach, Jesus Christ, brother.
How is it that thou, being a Jew.
How is it that thou, being a Jew,
askest drink of me?
Askest drink of me. So the woman was to asking Christ, why are you asking me to give you some water? Because you know what she knew? That brother, what's his name? Josh. Brother Josh didn't know is that the Jews had no dealings with the other nations. That's what she knew that he don't know. Read on.
which am a woman of Samaria.
Which am a woman of Samaria. So she was surprised that Christ was asking her for a drink of water, because she knew that Christ and the nation of Israel had no dealings with the other nations. Read on.
For the Jews
have
no dealings.
Have no what?
No dealings.
For the Jews have no dealings
with the Samaritans.
With the Samaritans, brother. So what you didn't understand was Christ was going to the, hold on, we got to hit him in the head with that one again. The Jews were going to the Samaritans that was scattered in Samaria. They wasn't going to the people that was born in Samaritan. They wasn't going to the Samaritans. They was going to the Jews that had been scattered abroad. They was going to the Jews that had been scattered there and had children there and was raising their children under the laws of the Samaritans. Read that again to clarify for him.
John chapter 4. Verse 9, then saith the woman of Samaria.
Then saith the woman of Samaria.
Unto him,
Jesus Christ.
How is it that thou, being a Jew.
How is it that thou, being a Jew,
askest drink of me?
Asketh drink of me, because she knew that Christ and the nation of Israel had no dealings with the Samaritans. Read on.
Which am a woman of Samaria.
Which am a woman of Samaria. She was a Samaritan, and she knew, brother Josh, that guess what? That the Jews did not deal with the Samaritans. Read on.
For the Jews have no dealings.
For the Jews have no dealings, brother Josh.
With the Samaritans.
With the Samaritans. You see that? This is so what needs to happen. They need to question you. They need to ask you why you skipping around the scriptures. Why you didn't bring out the fact. You tried to question me, asking me how many years I done been in this. Now I'm going to question you and ask you why you didn't bring out this. That it said in the Bible twice that the Jews had no dealings with the Samaritans when it came down to the Samaritans. 2 Kings. Who got it?
2 Kings 17 and 28.
2 Kings 17 and 28. Let's go. And then we're going to bust you out with the Good Samaritan. Because we know where you going already. Where y'all Christians go.
2 Kings 17 and 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria.
Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria. What priest? Israelite priest. Read on.
Came and dwelt in Bethel.
Go ahead.
And taught them how they should fear the Lord.
And guess what? The priests from Israel, like I told you, the Samaritans were converts. So they had went and brought over Israelite priests to show the Samaritans how they should serve the Lord. Because guess what? They didn't know how. Just like I told you when we first started, Brother Josh, that they was converts. So they had to go while we was in captivity and bring our priests to show them how to serve the Lord. Any more on that?
Wow.
Go ahead. Let's go. Call it out for them.
John chapter 4, verse 21.
John 4 and 21.
Jesus said unto her.
Jesus also said unto the Samaritan woman, read on.
Woman, believe me.
Woman, believe me.
The hour cometh.
The hour cometh.
When ye shall neither.
Where ye shall neither.
In this mountain.
In this mountain, in this nation. Go ahead.
Nor yet at Jerusalem.
Nor yet at Jerusalem.
Worship the Father.
Worship the Father. You ain't going to be worshiping Christ.
Ye worship ye know not what.
And again, he said that told a woman she don't know what the hell she was worshiping. Read on.
But we know what we worship.
But guess what, Brother Josh? We know what we worship. And that's what we're going to teach the Israelites, to know what they worship. Not what they told. We're going to teach them to know what they worship through the scriptures, through study of the scriptures, not just bringing out whatever the hell you want the scriptures to be, because that's what y'all brothers do. That's what the Christian church do. All y'all Christians are deceiving these brothers and sisters. If you was going to bring out John 4 and 28, you should have referenced John 4 and 22. You should have referenced John 4 and 9. Read on.
That was it, sir.
And guess what? You didn't reference it because you knew it was going to cut you. You knew it was going to put you in your place. You knew that you could not bring out the lies that you was bringing out if you would have referenced John 4 and 22 or John 4 and 9. Where we at over here? Go ahead. No, being he went to the strangers. Let's get it. Deuteronomy 14 and 21. And if the Lord was down with the strangers, I love the strangers, why did God tell the nation of Israel to treat the strangers like this? Come on.
Deuteronomy 14 and 21, ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself.
If the Lord loved the strangers, he told the nation of Israel not to eat of anything that dieth of itself, Brother Josh. Meaning that if you went out into a field the next day and you had a herd of cattle, or if you had a herd of sheep and you woke up and that sheep was dead the next morning, read on, and it had died of itself. You didn't know how it died. Read on.
Thou shalt give it unto the stranger.
You shouldn't eat it, but you should do what?
Give it unto the stranger.
You should do what?
Give it unto the stranger.
You should give it unto the stranger. Now, Brother Josh, my question is this. If you don't know how this animal died, it could have died from any type of disease. If the Lord loved the other nations, just like he loved the nation of Israel, he would have told all of us to eat of that meat because ain't no problem. But why would he tell them, the Israelites, don't you eat it, but you give it unto the stranger? Read on.
That is in thy gates.
That is in thy gates. The people, the strangers that's dwelling with us.
That he may eat it, or that thou mayest sell it unto an alien.
That he may eat it or sell it unto aliens. Somebody that had no dealings with our covenants. Brother Josh? It's all good.
All right, once again, you're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio. The title of this debate, does God love the non-Hebrew? Does God love the non-Hebrew?
Yes, them have the heart of a pagan. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous treading the countenance of the Almighty One. Them have the heart of demons. The children have the heart of a lion, I know. Evil and move with Satan. Righteous walk in the countenance of the Almighty One. Poor people see hostility rising daily. Ignorant multiply brutality. I see daddy run gone left mommy. Fi struggle the hard road with 5 beginning. Our I see baby having baby. Nothing that happen.